Okay, hopefully this works. That's on live. Okay, tonight we're going to start. We're going to read in Genesis chapter 19, verse 1 all the way down into basically 26. Um, if I don't know, I don't have a name for the message, but if I did, basically, are you Lot's wife? Are you disobeying God? Now I know some of you have heard me teach this in Sunday school, and some of you have never heard this message. But here goes Genesis chapter 19, verses 1 all the way down as far as it'll take me. Seems the noise the car goes by. Verse 1. And there came two angels to Sodom at eve. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face towards the ground. And he said, Behold, now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. Verse 5. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, Where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known men. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore they came under the shadow of my roof. Verse 9. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one fellow came into sojourn, and he needs to be a judge. Now will we do worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand, and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city? Bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord. And the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. I'm going to jump down to verse 24. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. This is something that is still said to be seen in the land today. I didn't even have this written down there. I've read online that you can actually see the land where she was at where she actually became a pillar of salt. It is still there today, where you can see like fire and brimstone on the ground. Oh, I forgot my salt. And the pillar of salt that she became from looking back. Let's go back in time. Why was God going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? And this ain't even on my whatever, on my notes or anything. Because Sodom and Gomorrah were absolutely horrific. Wickedness, evil. They were murdering, stealing, doing everything else. Their sins were so great that it reached up to God Almighty and got in his face. They were so bad. God said, I'm tired of you. And in verse 1, we're going to trail back through it. In verse 1, there came two angels, which were the angels of wrath. These angels weren't sent there to say, okay, God will change his mind. Like with Jonah. Remember how Nineveh was. God was going to destroy Nineveh at first. But they were absolutely horrible. And God said, forget it, I'm not taking it. So there came the two angels, which were the angels of wrath. They came to Sodom at evening time. It was evening, like it's getting now. And Lot was sitting inside of the gate of the city of Sodom. So he was inside the gate, not outside. He was in the city, sitting there inside the gate. And when Lot seen them coming, he rose up to meet them. He's like, hey, who's them two men? Let me go see. And when he came up to them, he bowed himself towards the ground with his face towards the ground in respect to them. Verse 2, and Lot said unto them, my lords, this is your servant's house. Basically, he was showing them respect. He's saying, I am your servant. Whatever needs you have, I will provide them. So Lot was saying that he was their servant, and Lot said, tarry all night, which was meant, stay here all night. You don't have to go nowhere. My house is your house. He said, wash your feet, rise up early and go your way. Lot was showing them respect by offering them to stay the night. But they said, nay. They said they didn't want to stay the night. That nay means no. They said, we will abide in the street all night. So they're going to stay in the street all night. I think I'm kind of nervous because I know we're on live stream right now too, actually live. Verse 3, and Lot pressured them. He pressured them greatly. Like, stay, don't go out in the streets, stay tonight. It's not safe out there. He did not know they were angels of the Lord. Anybody bother them, boom, they could just kill them instantly. And they turned and basically looked at Lot, and they entered into his house. And Lot made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they all ate. Verse 4, but before the two angels went to lay down, here you go, this is your typical neighborhood. The men of the city at evening, the men of Sodom surrounded the house. So all these men, young and old, it said, came from the city, surrounded his house. And the men called unto Lot to him and said, where are the men that which came in thee tonight? Well, it's the ones that came to your house. We've seen them. Well, a bunch of nosy neighbors and troublemakers. We want to know what's going on. Bring them out to us that we may know them. Nosy, ain't they? The men of the city were nosy, I said that. And they want to know who these strangers were. And anyways, these men of this city of Sodom, they were horrible and Gomorrah. They were evil, wicked, doing everything. But Lot came out the door. He opened the door. He came out, closed the door behind him. So they couldn't get in the house. And Lot said unto the men of the city, brethren, do not do so wickedly. He knew how they were. And he didn't want to do anything that might provoke them, the men of the city, or cause trouble. But they didn't know who they was playing with, though. The men of the city, did they? Verse 8. Now, this is your typical person. I won't say typical person. Here's how some people really are. Verse 8. And Lot said, I have 2 daughters which have not known man. And you know what that means. Let me bring them out unto you, and ye do to them as is good in your eyes. Ain't that nice? saying, here, take my daughters. Take them. Do whatever you want. He's scared. But Lot said, only unto these men do nothing, for they came under my roof. Now that's bad when he was willing to just give up his 2 daughters, But Lot said, don't do nothing to these 2 men. And I'm getting to the point in a minute, too, exactly where I'm going, and you know where I'm going. But the men said, stand back, and they pushed down the door, trying to get in, that they almost broke the door down. But the men, the 2 angels, put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house, and they closed the door. And the 2 men, the angels, these are 2 angels, smote them in who were at the door with blindness. They said, however they did it, I don't know. They said, and these men were blind, that they couldn't find their way to the door. So how were they going to get in? So Lot was protected. They had said, and I didn't put it on here, they were going to harm him more than them if he didn't let them know who them 2 men were, which were angels. So God protected him. The angels pulled him in the door. They blinded them so they could not bust their way into the house. So that's divine intervention. God was shown he's the protector. Verse 12. And the 2 men, the angels, asked Lot, have you anyone else here besides your son-in-law, your sons and your daughters, and any stuff that you have in this city? If so, bring it out of this place. They were telling Lot, get your family, get your stuff, and get out of this city. Because it's filled with evilness, it's wicked. I don't know about you, but if God sent 2 angels knocking on my door and say, hey, Kim. Oh, now everybody knows my name. What's up, people? Kim, get your family, get your stuff, get out of here now. You think I wouldn't be gone if I knew that's coming from God? I would have been gone. Then in verse 13, the 2 angels told Lot why God sent them to tell him, get your family, get your stuff, and get out of this city. Because he was going to destroy that city. Because they said the cry of them is waxing so great before the face of the Lord. They were so horrible, so wicked, like I said earlier, it got up in God's face. And he got tired of them. And he's about to destroy him. He's about to, boom, blow him all up. Y'all know I'm being recorded. Jump down to verse 14. So Lot went and spake unto his sons-in-laws. He goes to his son-in-laws first, and he told them, get up, he's basically saying. Get out of this place, get out of the city, because God is going to destroy it. They didn't believe him. They thought he was whatever, I guess drunk, being a fool, acting crazy, something. They didn't listen. Verse 15. And when the morning came, the angels hasted Lot, saying, urgently they came up to him, hurrying him, saying, arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in iniquity, the sins and the wickedness of this city. So God was telling them, get up, get them, and get out before I destroy the city. I don't want you to be burned. Verse 16, we're getting down to the message almost. But Lot lingered. He hesitated. He procrastinated. He wasn't ready to go. So the 2 angels grabbed him by his hand and his wife and his 2 daughters. Because God was telling him it was time to go. And he was hesitating, so the angel said, let's get out of here. Why? Because since he was hesitating and not going when God sent the angels and told him to go, even he was hesitating. Why didn't God just say, okay, you're not listening to me, you're being disobedient, I'm just going to burn you up with everybody else in wickedness? Why? Because God loved Lot. God's being merciful to him. God was about to show his deliverance unto this one family. God could have just said, since you aren't listening to me, you're hesitating, forget you. Boom, God didn't want him to burn up with the rest of the wicked people, or his wife, or his 2 daughters. And the two angels brought him forth out of the city. Verse 17. I'm really messing this up. And it came to pass when the two angels had brought them forth, they brought the rest of the people forth. The wife, Lot's wife, and the two angels, the angels brought them forth after Lot. Lot was already out the city. And he said to one of the angels, here's what the angel said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, but escape unto the mountain, lest thou be consumed. So the angel told all of them, don't look behind thee. Don't be nosy. Get out the plane, go into the mountain, and you'll escape. You'll be fine. What did the angel tell them? He gave them the warning, do not look behind thee. Almost getting to the point. Now go down to verse 24. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from heaven. I don't have no heaven. Here's your brimstone. Upon Sodom and Gomorrah. Could you just imagine fire and brimstone coming from heaven? If the angels, God told them, tell you to get out now, I'm about to destroy you, you'd be running for your lives instead of staying. You would listen, don't look back. And you'd say, I'm nosy, He was about to destroy them. The whole city, everybody and everything in it except for Lot, his two daughters, and his wife. Now what happened to the son-in-laws? Guess where they are? They didn't listen to them, so they're about to burn up with everybody else. Verse 25. So God overthrew them. He destroyed the city and all the plains, all the inhabitants, which are all the people of the city. He destroyed everything on the ground, everything. Everybody was burnt up with fire and brimstone. Everybody died. And here is the whole theme of today's sermon. Finally getting down to it. This is the actual sermon. That was it. Verse 26. It says, but his wife looked back from behind him, and she became, we know what she became, don't we? And I don't have no salt. Here she is. Here's Lot's wife. She looked back. I'm melting. Oh, no, she didn't say that. She became a pillar of salt. Lot's wife is one person in the Bible I noticed that don't have a name. It does not, nowhere in the Bible say her name. People say supposedly what her name was. I've never seen it in the Bible. Jesus even refers to her when he's talking about the end times, the way the world has gone wicked and everything, and he's going to destroy the world. And people, when Jesus said, it's time, you're supposed to leave and go, you don't look back. And he's like, remember Lot's wife? He said that in Matthew. But what did she decide to do? When the angels told him, don't look behind thee. Don't look back. Don't be nosy. Don't look at what's going on. She decided not to listen to the angel of the Lord, which was sent by God Almighty himself, telling him, don't look back. What was she doing? Being nosy, disobedient, not listening to God, being the busybody, doing whatever she wanted, but not looking or listening to what God wanted her to do. If she would have listened, she would have been still alive. She wouldn't have been a pillar of salt. When he said, don't look back, or you'll be a pillar of salt, you get destroyed. Would you look back? Or you just like being salt. You're like, hey, Milton, I'm going to do it again. You can't do it again. It ain't 3 strikes, you're out. It's 1, you bite the dust. And she's still there today. Lord, forgive me, but everybody might say, okay, well, this is just Old Testament from Genesis. It's thousands of years ago that God did this. God's destroyed the earth before. God's destroyed people before. God has killed people. And he will, if he gets tired of you, he will take you out the picture. He will kill you. Are any of us a Lot's wife? Are you a Lot's wife? Even though you're a man? Are you? Are you? Am I? Might be thinking, okay, she's crazy. What is she talking about? Yeah, I know I'm crazy. But how many people have disobeyed God? Not listen, when you hear that still soft voice telling you, don't do that, don't do this, who's it coming from? If it's soft, it's still, it brings you peace, it's trying to keep you from doing wrong, trouble, something that can destroy you, kill you, it's coming from God. God gave us a mind of our own. We have the right to choose. We are supposed to pray on things. But usually when it comes to something we really want to do that's wrong, we don't even think about praying. Yes, something will cross our mind and say, maybe I shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. That's God saying, don't do it, because it can kill you. I mean, it can take you out the picture. I mean, people have been making bad decisions all their lives. Basically, I probably make bad decisions almost every day of my life, you know. But I'm going to talk about some of the destructive things that can actually kill you. One of the main things, the first thing that actually comes to my mind, and I'm about to lose the book right now. The main thing that comes to my mind that will actually kill you, and things go wrong, and I can't even say the people are young that started. Drugs. This is, to me, the biggest destroyer of lives, family, yourself, and it can and will kill you. People start doing drugs usually because they're hanging around their friends or whatever, or they got to try it. But there's that voice that says, don't do it. That's God. What happens to probably about 80 or 90% of drug users? They die. God said, I told you not to do it. People intervene in their life, try to get them off drugs. God said, don't do it. Stop now. You don't listen. What happened? I know somebody personally. I won't say her name because she was a dear friend of mine. She was on drugs. She kept doing it. She got saved. I thank God I was able to lead her to the Lord. But she ended up overdosing on heroin and died. God just got tired of it. He said, I gave you a choice. I gave you a chance to try to clean up your lives. I put people there. People prayed on you, over you. You didn't listen. You want to continue doing it, so I'm going to kill you. I'm just going to take you home. God gets tired of it. Even, and I don't really knock this, and I hate to say that I'm preaching, and I'm going to get bashed on this one on YouTube, probably live streaming, Facebook, and everywhere else, and I don't care. Drinking. If you use it destructively, yes, it can destroy your life. I was going to say the other part, and I'll get bashed on. Drinking don't really bother whatever me. I don't personally drink, but if you're an occasional drinker, I'll get bashed like crazy, and I don't really care. It's not going to kill you. But if you continuously get drunk, all day, all night, you can go into blackout and you can die. You're destroying yourself. People will tell you, well, you drink too much. Well, leave me alone. I'm not drinking too much. You just, whatever, stay out of my business. God will tell you, sometimes be like, oh, I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to quit doing drugs. Somebody's telling you you need to stop. Who is it? It's God saying stop. There's other habits. Besides smoking cigarettes. That's my big thing. Yes, I'm going to get bashed for that because I am a cigarette smoker and I'm an ordained minister. God's going to eventually say, I've told you, quit. You keep saying, I'm going to quit. Pray. I'm going to quit. God's going to eventually get tired of me. And he might decide, well, Kim, you don't listen. I told you to quit smoking. Time to take you out, kill you, take you home. So I'm bashing on my own self, not just people that do drugs, drink, smoke cigarettes, whatever, weed, the same thing. There's destructive things like sexual addictions. You sleep around too much, what can happen? Diseases. Syphilis, gonorrhea, I don't even know about herpes, and then the ultimate, AIDS. And like with the smoking thing, with me, can catch lung cancer, throat cancer, and that's almost a fate worse than death. Because I've seen how my aunt, and I won't say it because this is on live stream, died from lung cancer. But she also worked in a place that the fumes could have gotten into her lungs. But I believe the cigarette smoking killed her. So there's a lot of things that God will say don't do. Like, okay, he'll say, maybe some people, not us, I'm not saying me, okay, so get it on there perfectly, Some people might say, well, I need some money. I'm broke, my family's starving. I ain't got no food or whatever it is, or even a drug user might say, I got to go get my fix. And you don't care how you're going to go get that fix. You get your little gun. I see a little old lady. Come here, little old lady. Guess what she comes out with? Boom, boom, boom. You're gone. You thought about it. The voice of God told you not to do it. What do? You decide to be a little punk? Go out there and try to rob a little old lady. But guess what God said? I told you not to do it. And you want to go after a poor, defenseless little lady, old lady, who, by the way, had a machine gun. Now you're dead. So there's so many destructive thoughts. Robbing a bank, you end up dead or go to jail. But there's so many things we don't listen to the voice of God on, and God will get tired of you. God might tell you, I don't know, don't go down the street today, or don't leave. Better yet, or like God, here's a perfect example. Never mind. Last year, the fireworks in downtown Detroit. We was on Congress, East Congress. It was like we thought my son Murky had a seizure. We put him on the ground, we gave him water,